So what we're talking about now is we're talking about this new wave of technology that allows you to track a lot of the things that are happening with your prospects while you're doing outreach and while they're learning about you online. And what we want to talk about now is really leveraging a lot of that intelligence and a lot of that listening power to really make a genuine connection with that prospect and ultimately book more sales meetings. So the themes here, the real important stuff to be able to take away from this section is that, number one, context is king. It's great to have information. Using it is where it becomes powerful. Number two, speed is key. There's probably nothing that has a shorter shelf life in the world than a human being's interest. So we got to get to
attention span.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get to these things pretty quick. I think we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling on my little Facebook feed and I don't care about nothing.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is, how do you use this to actually make you more productive? And in this context, I think what we mean by more productive is book more sales appointments, get more meetings, have more quality conversations. So diving right into the first piece on the context. So specifically here, I want to be really clear about what types of context that we're actually talking about. So there's technology now that allows you to track your emails. So you can see who opens them, who clicks on certain links that you would send in the emails, what links they clicked on. You can see who's coming to your website, what pages of your website that they're viewing. You can see things like when someone opens your document or a proposal that you sent over and what pages they looked at, for how long they looked at the pages. You can see who fills out forms on your website and what types of content that they're trying to download. There's so much context that a salesperson has available. But like when you think about how that actually helps you in the way that you use that, like what are you finding is the real way that that proves value back to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's amazing to have these tools to begin with, right? I mean, as salespeople, these are gadgets. And what these gadgets are going to help us do is have something to say to someone and be able to turn that cold call into a warm call. And that's really what it's done for me.
Yeah, I mean, just the ability to have somebody go from a place where we're calling in and trying to explain what we're doing versus calling in and being able to ask them about their interest in a very specific thing.
It's a powerful thing.
What a meaningful difference.
Yeah.
So significant. Okay, so the next piece on speed is that we can actually have that conversation, but again, the shelf life is so short. So the real kind of key to nailing the outreach based on all of these notifications and interests that you're going to be dealing with is, number one, track your engagement. Everything you do as a salesperson, you're tracking it, and you understand that it's basically every message you send, every interaction you have is a seed waiting to grow. That's going to give you shade for a long, long time. Second is you got to call fast. If somebody is opening an email of yours or engaging with your website, chances are they're sitting at their desk. Chances are there's a phone on that desk. Chances are if it rings, they're going to be there to pick it up. All right, so finally, so it's tracking engagement, it's calling fast, and finally it's opening with context. It's not saying, hi, I'm so-and-so calling from this company, here's my elevator pitch. It's saying, I noticed that you have specific interest in this thing. Tell me more about that. Really, really meaningful shift in how we do outreach and how effective it is. Cool, so we talked about a lot of what to do now. We talked a little bit about the tracking. What type of tracking have you seen being most significant, and what types of notifications and interest do you like following up on most?
Yeah, so I think it actually kind of also relates to the buyer journey. For instance, like someone in the decision phase, if they're opening a pricing email, that's a signal for me to call. Whereas someone maybe in the awareness stage, if they've opened a piece of content that I've sent them, that's great because maybe I can shift them further into the buyer journey. So I think it's kind of knowing your prospects and when to call based on where they are in the buyer journey, kind of going back to the theme we've talked about before.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
And like we said before, there's so many different types of notifications you have available, and there's software that allows you to do this. Now this is baked into a lot of just like CRM systems, like the one that HubSpot has.
Yeah, exactly. The way that HubSpot sales, and it just works right within your Chrome, so lives within your email, which is where I am, day in, day out.
I hear you. So, I think what we should do is a role play. I think to really kind of end this series in a meaningful way and to really have impact on how we do this, you want to show them how it's done?
I'm ready for the challenge if you are.
All right. You be the prospect.
Okay.
I'll be the salesperson.
Who am I?
So
Where am I?
What I'm selling is I'm selling lead generation software.
Okay.
And you are a marketing manager. And I sent you an email. You were in the awareness phase. You weren't really thinking about this problem. I had no signs of interest, except I sent an email to you that I tracked. And in the email, I sent a couple links to articles on the web about lead generation. And you just opened the email, clicked on them, and I'll do a role play and show an example of how I would actually follow up with you and start this conversation in a way that's different than the traditional cold call.
Okay, great. Am I still Blake or new name?
You could be Blake.
Okay.
I'll be me.
Okay.
The way this starts is you pick up the phone.
Okay. Ring, ring. Hello?
Hi, is this Blake?
Hi, yes, this is she. Who's this?
Hey, Blake, this is Mike Peachy. I'm calling from HubSpot. Is this an okay time to catch you for a second?
Oh, Mike, that's so funny. I was just looking at some articles you sent over. That's so funny. Yeah, what's going on? I have a few minutes.
Oh, that's really cool. I actually noticed that it looks like some of the stuff you were looking at was around the lead generation content that I sent over. Was just wondering, like, is that something that you're thinking about now? Is that really like a priority for you?
Yeah, this is something that's been on the table for a while. We're really trying to, make this a priority, and that's kind of why I was just looking into it. I just want to see how this can be different than what we've done in the past.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And, I really appreciate that, you're coming up to speed on a lot of this stuff, and it's early on, and seems like in your, journey of getting some education in the space. And so I'm more than happy to send you over some content and information if that would be helpful to you. But one thing that we also help with here is doing a personalized consultation, which I can ask you a couple questions, get a better understanding of some of your objectives and some of the challenges you've had so far with lead generation, and help paint you a roadmap of what might be effective strategies for you to use moving forwards. The call takes about a half an hour. Is that something you'd be interested in doing?
Yeah, that could be helpful. Is there a cost with this consultation, or?
No, totally free. In full transparency, we sell a solution that assists in lead generation, but we offer the consultation as just like a totally free opportunity to learn more and get some great tactics and leave with value regardless of the decision you make about our solution.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that'd be really helpful. So are you gonna send me an email or?
Books the meeting.
Woo!
Boom. Notice the significant difference between a traditional cold call where I had to give my elevator pitch and the session I had with Blake just there where I'm learning about her interests, I'm understanding her problem, and I'm easily and quickly able to leverage that interest.
Yeah, it felt much more natural than the elevator pitch.
And sometimes, for what it's worth, people who we talk to on the phone, right, and our prospects will sometimes say to us, like, am I going to sound a little weird when I,
Yes.
reach out and I say that I noticed what you saw? What do you say to people who, like, ask you if it's going to be a little, like, stalkery if they use some of this information in their sales process?
Well, yeah, I think it's all about how you present the information, right? And I think the way that you did it was very natural. It's not about so much that that they've done it. It's about why were you looking at it in the first place and how can I help, right? I think that if you focus on that part rather than the saw that you did it, then that's really going to make the conversation easier. But I think there's an art to it. But I think the focus is why were you opening it to begin with and how can I help?
Boom. So tip to tail, we've talked about everything in the series, all the way from where to even find people to reach out to how to grab their interest, to how to grab a response over time, all the way down to how to leverage all of these different engagements that we're picking up, using all the different software tools that are out there and available to really just nail sales and nail outreach in general. We want to thank everybody so much for joining us on the journey. We really hope this was extremely valuable to you. And the Get Shit Done show, I hope you found to be super real, super tactful, and stuff that's a little bit different than the other sales content that you've seen out there before.
Yeah, and as someone who does this every day, hope you can relate to the stories that I've told. And, honestly, it's about getting the tools to begin with and then how to use those tools most effectively. And just end of the day, get shit done.
Get shit done, baby. Thank you, everyone, for your interest.
Thank you so much.
Hope you enjoyed.
We'll see you soon.